rhythms and non-traditional instrumentation, Latin music is a unique and popular genre of music today. What makes this genre so unique is the use of instruments from Latin American regions, often incomparable to those of Europe. One of these instruments that is totally un-European is the güiro. The güiro is a Latin American percussion instrument made by creating notches on a hollowed, open-ended gourd and played by rubbing a wire or a stick along the notches. It produces a scrape, rasp-like sound. In a larger historical context, the güiro represents the impact and contribution that the indigenous people have on our society today. The use of the güiro has evolved over time, yet continues to be used in modern music. The güiro represents how Latin American instruments and music continue to be central to the national identities of these regions today. The güiro is an instrument that dates back from pre-European encounter in the Americas. The Aztec people of Mexico created the amezcalci, an instrument similar to the güiro, crafted from a small bone with serrated notches, which the Aztecs played in a similar manner as the güiro. The Taino people of the Caribbean have often been credited with the development of the güiro. The guille was an antecedent of the güiro created by the Tainos of Puerto Rico. The guille was a gourd or animal bone with notches, and it played like the güiro. In addition, the güiro has origins from Africa, brought to Latin America and the Caribbean by African slaves. Furthermore, there were a variety of rasp-like instruments similar to the güiro made by other indigenous groups throughout Latin America. Pre-European encounter, instruments such as the güiro and music were used for religious purposes by the indigenous groups. The music and instruments evolved with the changes of European contact, conquest, and colonialism. By looking regionally at different genres of music in which the güiro is used in, we can have a greater understanding of how these changes took place and the impact they have on Latin American music. In the Yucatan Peninsula, the Mayans incorporate the güiro in two musical dances, the Mayapax and the Jarana. The Mayapax celebrated their struggle for independence during the 19th century, and the Jarana is the official dance of the Yucatan. They can feature traditional Mayan instruments as well as Afro-Caribbean and European instruments, showing the influence of Europeans as well as the slaves brought over by the Europeans. These dances continue to be danced today at religious ceremonies such as baptisms and weddings, but also for entertainment such as for bullfights and local fiestas. The danzon of Cuba is a popular genre that features the güiro. The danzon is a hybrid music using African rhythms and European and Latin American instruments, showing the influence of Europe on Latin American music. The high society often listened to a true form of the danzon, while more exotic forms were associated with African people and mulattoes. Even in the enjoyment of music, we can see racial and class lines in the consumption of music. Eventually, the danzon became associated with the wars of independence and was Cuba's first nationalistic style of music, becoming their official genre and dance still today. In Puerto Rico, the güiro can be heard in a variety of music, such as in the plena, the seis, and the danza. The plena is music from former slaves and jimbaros, mountain people who were traditionally land laborers who migrated to urban areas for a better life. Musologist and professor from the University of Texas San Antonio, Mark Brill, explains plena as white country music met the rhythms of the black bamba. This music was often associated with the urban working class, including both races. For this reason, the instruments were often ones native to the island or easily accessible, such as the güiro. The lyrics often told of the struggles of everyday life, but also served to orally communicate anything from news to histories and to dreams. Still played today, the music is popular in the countryside where it originated. The seis is a genre based on folklore music and serves as the backbone for the genre danza. The danza has European influence in the instrumentation and elegant slow dance that accompanies it. Primarily, the danza was a genre for dancing and entertainment, but soon took on a new role when Felix Astor wrote the island's national anthem in 1867, La Borqueña, based on a romantic danza. Although composed by working-class people, it was the aristocratic class that consumed these songs, revealing the complicated class relations developing in Puerto Rico, which are still visible today. By analyzing these regions' genres of music, we can see how genres of music serve as national identities for Latin American countries. They show European influence dating from the colonial era as exhibited in the güiro. Over time, the güiro went from an instrument of the indigenous and African cultures to being used by Europeans and Russians, such as in Igor Stravinsky's ballet, The Rite of Spring. Nevertheless, Latin American instruments like the güiro survived the test of time, continuing to represent Latin American culture throughout the world.